I think I'm live. I am live. Why does everything look cloudy? What is going on? Why does this look like? Oh, that's a little better. Good morning, good afternoon, good day. Oh my God, what is going on? Stop. I usually have two windows open for this. I had to shut that off. Okay. Yeah, exactly, JC. All right, hold on. What am I doing? I have like too many windows open. All right, here we go. All right, there we go. I like to be able to see everything. All right, good. So welcome to the show. Welcome to Buh-Bye, Pluto. Buh-Bye, Buh-Bye. All right, let's see who's here. Let me put it on live chat so I can see everything. This is kind of early for me. Y'all are gonna laugh. You know, like, hello, Shane's out of service. Good to see you here, my friend. F you, Pluto. Yes, absolutely. Mary, good to see you. Ade, good to see you. Aurora, hello. Patty, Diane. Let's see who else? Chrissy. Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is kind of early for me. I usually don't start, greeting the public and like doing videos or doing whatever until like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. So hello, Jaroslaw. Good to see you. Colleen. And if I say anybody's name wrong, all apologies. Yeah, exactly. It's a Sunday. This is just like chillax look and outfit here. It's a bonjour, Aline. Yeah, this is totally like, this is the mood. This is the mood today. The FU Pluto mood. Hello, Aventurine. Yeah, Bobo's on his little cat tree. He's hanging out after causing a ruckus this morning. Dio, good to see you. Scylla, good to see you. I am not doing questions today. This is a hangout. I mean, we can ask questions about Pluto, but I'm not doing like pulling cards and to take questions. Okay. So if you're here for that, that's not what we're doing today. Okay. I thought we would just like review, share experiences. Let's hear I like to see obviously where everyone's from. I love that so much. I love how YouTube brings us all together from around the world. Hi, Ella. Hey, Christine. Good to see you. Maribel, Mona, Marlene. 30 feral cats. Oh my God. South Carolina. But also, I'd love to hear your sign. Tell me, especially, you can do all your signs if you want, your sun, moon, rising. But, I'd like to, hey, Jamie Kate from West Virginia. Love West Virginia. Such a beautiful place. As Adventurine's asking, what's next with this Pluto bullshit? I'm so done with tests and challenges. Yeah, so let's, bonjour, bonsoir, Alexandra, my UK, Euro people. I guess it's 5 over there right now. I tried to pick a time. I feel really bad. The Aussies and the New Zealanders got left out of this live because of the time frame we're having it. But, I try to do my best here. Okay, yeah. So I kind of just want to, see what were everybody's challenges, especially like with the Capricorn area of your chart. Now, of course, Cap risings, Cap suns, and Cap moons really got hammered. But also, I was going back through the astrology since 2008 when Pluto entered Capricorn, because, I mean, not to like, not to be like, oh, we had it worse. But I'm sorry, but Aries and Capricorn had it worse, in my opinion, because of the fact that I think it was 2011, Uranus went into Aries, right? So that is squaring. Yes, it's opposite Libra and squaring Cancer as well. So maybe we can put Cancer, all the cardinal signs. But, we really, Aries had it rough with Uranus also. And of course, now we have Chiron. But Capricorn had to deal with Saturn also in their sign during Pluto in their sign. Okay, so I mean, I was trying to go back through and look at some of the astrology since 2008. And, it wasn't just Pluto. There were other things that were going on. I mean, Pluto is bad enough, but there's other things going on. And of course, anytime we have a Pluto transit that is conjunction, square, or an opposition, that's going to bring heavy, heavy energies. So yeah, tell me about it, dealing with dumb crap. It's been rough. Yes. Yeah, as a Capricorn, yeah. So let's kind of break it down for let's start first with the Capricorn area of your chart, whether you're Cap rising or your Aries rising, it doesn't matter, right? But with the Capricorn area of your chart, we know that since 2008, Pluto has brought big upheavals and changes. But did it happen all at once? Were there periods where it was just kind of fallow, nothing was going on? Hey, Carol. Hey, KC. And then all of a sudden, like things kicked off. Because you can time it, right? I mean, we can't do this for everybody here, but if you look back at an ephemeris, and you can find these online, right? Which is like a timetable of where the planets are, you can look and be like, okay, well, if I have my Cap rising at 6 degrees, you're going to start feeling Pluto the minute he sticks his big fat butt into Capricorn. Because it's so powerful, you'll feel it even a few degrees before the exact conjunction, right? But then, so 2008, I've shared this all with you. Yeah, like JC was saying, people died. I had bookends of deaths, right? My mom died in 2008, the moment Pluto went in, pretty much. Then there was a little bit of a lull with different things, but then I was getting hammered by Uranus in Aries. And I think also, I'm trying to remember, the South Node was in Aries as well. I think around again, I might not be remembering this correctly, like 2013, 14 as well. And I think Saturn was in Scorpio at that point. But anyway, so it can come in lulls like that. And I think that's something important that we should share with the Aquarians, right? That you got to really look at your degrees and your placements, right? Because thank you, Sherry, when Capricorn is exact or even approaching within, I would say within 5 degrees, honestly, as he's approaching, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it. So the people who are born or have like rising or moon, Venus, whatever you got at the beginning of Aquarius, you're already feeling Pluto approaching, right? And then of course, Pluto is getting ready to leave at that 29th critical degree of Capricorn. And my father passes away, right? But we have other things going on. We have Chiron on my sun. We have Saturn on my Venus. Like there's many other things in play. So I really also want to emphasize that a lot of times it's not just one thing that may cause a ruckus in your chart. I mean, it can, especially Pluto, because he's very powerful. He can cause plenty of ruckuses, as I call him, the bulldozer of doom. Well, we have to, Casey, you have to look at the degree. I don't really work with Lilith, so you can, figure that out. Hey, chords of gratitude. So I really want to emphasize that because it can feel overwhelming and scary. Like, oh my God, it's going to be doom and gloom, just the whole transit. And that's not the case. Also, I really want to emphasize, I'm working on the 2025 astrology book. And of course, I'm taking a peek a little further ahead to 2026, 2027, 2028. Oh, that's no fun, JC. We will have Uranus in a very supportive trine to Pluto. Uranus in Gem is going to go into Gemini from 2026 to 2028. That's very different than when we had Uranus squaring Pluto, right? Or in that cardinal area of, busting our chops. So again, I really want to emphasize that, yes, the challenges that Capricorn placements can tell you, any cardinal placements can tell you about Pluto and Capricorn, it's not necessarily going to be a carbon copy repeat. Just got to really emphasize that. Outer planets are shifting. Uranus is going to go into Gemini, as I said. Neptune is going into Aries. Saturn will also be going into Aries 2025. It'll backtrack still a little bit, and so will Neptune. But 2026, it's a whole new ball game. And I think Chiron hangs out in Aries until 2027, and then we'll go into Taurus. So we're having, things are shifting, right? But the flavor of what Pluto can do is still there, right? Because as I call him, the bulldozer of doom, the flavor of it. So I thought we would just share some stories and, not to panic, strike or whatever the word is, put Aquarians into a panic. But, just some things like when Pluto goes over your ascendant, right? It's about your public persona. It's about your physical body. It is about your face and how it meets the world, how people interact with you and see you, right? And Pluto is about changing and especially letting go of any type of thing that is toxic or inauthentic. And Pluto, I want to also emphasize too, is Carol. Too late, we already panicked. Pluto is about stepping into your power also. But a lot of times we fight our power, right? Or we ignore our power, or we dismiss it, or we don't want to deal with it, or whatever, right? But we are very powerful beings. We are. So Pluto can give you the opportunity. It is, you can choose the opportunity or not. We have free will, you can choose it or not. But oftentimes with Pluto, JC, you're cracking me up. A lot of times with Pluto, it can feel dire, like there isn't a choice. It can feel like that. Because yes, Pluto can bring those kind of point of no return experiences where, like a death or some other type of soul death, like really changing your identity, if, and leaving behind old roles and ways of interacting with the world, especially on your ascendant that don't suit you. When Pluto goes over your sun, this is like, my God, you can change. You have the opportunity to change your whole life, and especially what your ego identifies with as being important and powerful for you to grow into and step into your power. I love the example of one of my good friends who's a Sag. So when Pluto hit her sun in Sag, and we're going back many years now. She was in college at the time, and she doesn't mind me telling this story. She was in college at the time, and she was deeply raised in a deeply fundamentalist Christian home. Again, nothing wrong with that. We're not disrespecting anybody's beliefs or anything like that. But she was deeply kind of, in that world. She was an engineering major, and she was kind of like the little mouse in the corner. Okay, you get the picture. Oh, thank you, Born Retro. Thank you. When Pluto hit her sun, it was like, oh my God, this girl stepped into her power as a Sag. Sagittarius is about telling the truth. It's about living your truth, right? It's a lot about justice and, freedom and expansion and growth. And she was like, what am I doing? And it was more than this, of course. It was a lot of kind of a dark night of the soul, but she's like, this is not me. This is not who I am. And she totally turned like 180, right? So she got really involved in, spirituality, tarot, astrology. She started studying Spanish, right? No more engineering major. She she studied Spanish and got her master's also in that. And she's a Spanish teacher now. She became a very powerful advocate for herself by going on trips, exploring the world, instead, really speaking up for herself. So this is the type of example, me with the Virgo practical examples I like to give. It's like, it's an opportunity, right? But Pluto can make it pressing. It can feel like, if I don't do this now, then I might be lost forever. It can feel like that. And again, we have a choice. We don't have to do it. She didn't have to do that. But she took that leap of faith on herself. And it wasn't easy. I mean, she went through a lot of stuff with her parents because, she left the church, so to speak. It was not easy, but she's very happy today. I am happy to report. Pluto going over your moon, that is no picnic. I will tell you that right now, having gone through that transit also in my life. It can make you have a dark night of the soul in terms of facing family lineages with your mother, ancestral issues with the female line. It can have you facing issues of female power or empowerment or disempowerment. It can bring up, because Pluto brings up things, that were buried and that are painful. I mean, it rules the 8th house. So it can be things, like trauma or things like that. It can bring things up again, especially with our emotional stuff, our emotional body, and things related to the mother and the home, of course, the moon, right? That need to be healed. That's very tough. And sometimes when the Pluto goes over the moon, it can bring an ending with a place you've been living. It can bring an ending with an important female in your life. And of course, Pluto going over the sun could bring an ending with an important male in your life. Okay, so these are all these, like, again, possibilities. A lot depends also on the house that we are talking about as well. So yeah. Well, Chrissy, that's a real thing. I believe that. That's a real thing. Yeah, so Pluto's, as Rolling Rainbow Thunder is saying, Pluto's going to be in Aquarius for 20 years. Now, the other thing you want to look at too is, and hello to everybody who's popped in since I said hello to everybody. The other thing you want to look at too is, what house system are you using to look at your natal chart, right? Now, I personally like the unequal house system. That's just me. Doesn't mean that's better or worse. Some people like the equal house system. So technically, if I use unequal house system, Pluto's going to still be in my first house until he goes over the 16-degree line into Aquarius. Then he'll be in my second house. So, depends on what you house system you like. All right. So that's another thing to kind of to keep in mind. But, equal is the same as whole house. Yes, KC. Yes. Okay. I mean, I will tell you kind of too, it's like, again, it's not no right or wrong. And sometimes if you use both and kind of look at, what both kind of bring out in you in your chart, it kind of fits. But I will say the transits for me, like when I look at my natal chart, really tie in with my unequal house system better. Like the things that I have happened in my life, and when I see where certain things were and what houses in the unequal system, I'm like, oh my God, yes. Equal, not so much. So again, no right or wrong. Every astrologer, everybody who's into this stuff, like, you have your own way of doing things, and you see how things play out over time. But yeah, I think it's really interesting. There's been a couple comments on the channel and even here in the live chat about, one person commented recently on one of the videos and somebody else chimed in that they've been very angry about their family and their parents during Pluto's transit of Cap. And I see some other things going on here as well. Distancing from the dad and bro. JC said something too about her, I think her sister. Again, I'm kind of reading these kind of fast. But that makes sense because, yes, we think of Cancer as the fourth house, right? Yes, because in the astrological wheel, Cancer rules the fourth house, ruled by the moon, home, and family, right? But we forget that Capricorn is about ancestors. Capricorn's about lineage, right? So it can also be, and sometimes the hierarchies, because Capricorn is about that, about the hierarchies in a family structure. So and power dynamics within that. So and Capricorn tends to be more again, in my opinion, it's more associated with father energy as well. Of course, Saturn, right? So ruled by Saturn. It can be associated with grandparents as well, older people. So it's kind of not surprising that Pluto might be bringing up, or has been bringing up, those types of issues. Because again, Pluto's, as JC is saying, all my dead relatives are supporting me. Yeah, Diane lost her dad, changed direction professionally with her Cap moon. Yeah. And again, you can time these things. If you look at the degree of where your moon is, you can be like, oh my God, yeah, that's when that happened. It happened in 2008 when Pluto hit my moon. Oh my God, like, this is what happened. I had to change everything around in my business. So where was I going? So yeah, so it's not unusual that there might be some, like, God, I gotta face this shit. Sorry, it's the brunch. I can say the shit word. I gotta face this shit with my family. Why? Because because that's often, again, because it's Pluto, it's going to bring up very deep stuff that usually you don't want to look at, right? So yeah, so M. Ryan is saying, yes, angry all the time and processing traumas about family of origin, mom stuff, estranged from her brother, and dad died. Yes. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, Chrissy. YouTube does weird things. It's sometimes hard to control that stuff, so my apologies. And let's see, where am I going? I'm looking at these comments here. Okay, and as a Sagittarius, Shal is saying a few things about going through home stuff with her mom and sister. I don't know your rising sign, but Saggies have been getting hammered by Neptune since when? When did I don't know this off the top of my head. It's been the last 7-8 years with Neptune and Pisces. So you've had Neptune squaring your sun at some point. And if you have Sag rising, it's in your 4th house. So Neptune can be this kind of, I got to face these illusions, delusions, lack of boundaries, or trying to create new boundaries with situations that before didn't have boundaries, especially if it's your 4th house, then it would be with your family. And then you got the Pluto in Capricorn bringing up issues about, family lineage, authority, breaking free from family structures that might not fit who you are as an individual also, depending on what else you have going on in your chart. So my favorite aunt always makes fun of my living relatives to make me feel better about them all ghosting me. That's funny. Okay, so we have, how does one get unstuck? Okay, so ask me some questions. Tell me what house Aquarius is for you, and we'll go through that. Okay, Jaroslaw's saying Cap Sun, Scorpio Moon, North Node Aquarius. Should I worry again, or it's all over? Okay, well, it's like it's not going to be same shit, different day. It's going to be new shit, new day. Okay, I'm just teasing. There's no reason to feel anxious. I really want to emphasize that this is about stepping into power. Okay. And it's always how we use the energy. It's an opportunity. Okay. In terms of Scorpio, any Scorpio, Aquarius, well, we'll leave Aquarius out of this for a minute, but Scorpio, Leo, and Taurus, you're going to have Pluto at some point, either in Taurus or Scorpio, squaring your sun, your moon, whatever your placements are there. And then Leo, you'll have it opposite your placements at some point, depending on what those placements are. Okay. Well, Pluto moves slow, M. Ryan. Okay. So if your 2nd house Aquarius begins at 11 degrees, you still have maybe another 1.5 2 years before Pluto is going to even get that far. Maybe even longer than that. Again, Pluto moves slow. He retrogrades. I don't have the exact date at the top of my head, but you have a little time before he goes into your 2nd house. Okay, so we know squares. Squares are tense energy, right? Squares are like an itch you got to scratch. It gives you a little kick in the butt. Oppositions is really a tug of war and managing boundaries and balance. And Pluto can, again, about power. It can represent power struggles. It can represent boundaries around power, using your power, stepping into your power. So as an example, let's say you're born in early Leo. Let's just say, like, you're born on July 22nd, 23rd, you're going to have Pluto opposite your sun. We'll talk about Taurus in a second. Okay. Let's talk about Leo for a second. So there can be, again, your sun is your identity. And of course, and your ego. And it really is what you're developing and working on. Like, it can be connected with life purpose energy, the sun. Depends on your house, of course. Let's say your sun is in the 7th house. Let's just say in Leo. So Pluto would be going through your 1st house, because you would be Aquarius rising. Okay. But your 7th house sun in Leo is very much attuned to having relationships and blossoming in relationships, growing in relationships, shining in relationships, perhaps maybe, again, depending, maybe defining yourself too much through relationships. Okay. So Pluto coming on in opposite your sun in the seventh house, and Leo may be like, hello. Are we going to put some boundaries around how much we are allowing our energy source to be tapped by others? Like, are we investing our energy? Are we sacrificing our energy? Where do we got to clean up energetic boundaries? Right. And it doesn't mean, and I want to emphasize this too, it doesn't necessarily mean that it would bring the end to a relationship, but it might if that relationship is not supporting the person you're trying to evolve into, really bringing out your sun in the seventh house energy of shining and helping others and whatever. Okay. So you see my point. It's this like locking the bathroom door. But you see my point. You got to look at everything in context with what is happening. Now we have somebody here who had Taurus Taurus. They had their Venus. Where did that go? Venus and Taurus. Oh, there's KC was saying. Pluto, again, squaring your Venus. I would need to know the house that Taurus is for you. But let's say it's your second house. Let's say it's your second house of money and self-esteem and self-worth. Now, Pluto may help you. So again, squares are tense, right? It's like you gotta like face it. It's bugging you. Like it's bringing, situations that are prickly. So the Pluto squaring your Venus in the second house, again, let's just say, is going to be like, where are you sacrificing your energy? Where are you giving away too much of your power and your self-worth and not, paying yourself first or taking care of yourself first and your needs? Because again, Venus and Taurus, right? It's in its exaltation, but it is concerned with safety and security needs, especially in the second house. But there could be, things where that hasn't been working to its optimal frequency, shall we say. And you may need to face, okay, yeah, I got to change things up. Or it could be like, and take care of myself more. It could be Pluto might be saying to you, because it would rule your eighth house of other people's money, Scorpio, right? If you had Aries rising and Venus in the second house of Taurus, it'd be like, okay, I got to get my act together when it comes to other people's money, how I invest, how I save for my future, the energetic, me-we axis and how is my money working for me? It could be very monetary oriented as well. But sometimes we don't take care of our money when we don't feel good about ourselves. So Pluto, right, could bring those types of things to the surface. Pluto could be putting you in a tense situation where he's really going to force you to look at saving your money and investing it. That's another way to look at the energy. So, you just have to see what else is going on. Pluto squaring your Venus in the ninth house could be like, I've got to get out of a comfort zone, ninth house. I've got to expand who and where and what I connect with in my life, right? Ninth house is an expansive house. It's an international house. As we know, you could find opportunities abroad. Pluto could be like, we're going to bring you an amazing new job, but you're going to have to move halfway around the world to get it. How bad do you want it? So fixed signs in particular, I'll talk about Aquarius in a second, but Scorpio, Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, it is fixed energy. And I have a lot of fixed in my chart. As you guys may know, we are not disrespecting fixed sign energy. We're not. Okay. But fixed sign energy is stubborn AF. All right. It just is. Like, we don't want to change. We'll change on our terms. But if something out here is bringing a change to our doorstep, we're like, oh, no, wait a minute. I did not come up with that idea. I'm not ready yet. So Pluto can be disruptive in that instance to fixed sign energy, right? But, okay. So KC, see, this is what I'm saying. Like, you can tune into that energy and help yourself, right? So, and that could be the manifestation. Pluto squaring that Venus can bring that manifestation of that opportunity for you. It's a life-changing opportunity. All right. You see what I'm saying? So fixed signs, to go back to what Shaw was asking, is Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. All right, those are the fixed signs. So it just it depends on what you got going on. But the thing is, right, is that fixed is stubborn. So Pluto going into the stubborn sign of Aquarius is going to challenge all the stubborn, determined energies to work with the energy of transformation and getting out of ruts, getting out of fixed habits and routines, expanding awareness and your horizons, opening up your mind to different way of doing things. And, stubborn signs don't want to do that. Okay, now Aquarians, right? Like Aquarius, what I am excited about with this Pluto going into Aquarius is that it has the potential to really everything is in balance, in my opinion. Everything needs to have a balance. Extremes are no good. The middle way is best. So I'm excited for the good use of technology and how it could positively transform our society. But I'm a little concerned about the ways in which it could turn us into cyborgs or, keep us chained to a central bank digital currency or something like that. That does concern me. But I think that, as Rolling Rainbow Thunder is saying, we are evolving with the planets, right? They are alive. They are alive out in the sky. And they are, it's a living universe, right? Of change and possibility. But Aquarian energy, because it is connected with technology, the future, humanitarianism, ruling the 11th house of hopes and wishes and dreams in the astrological wheel, just in general, right? Hopes, wishes, and dreams, personal gains, networks, connections. I think it's going to be a good use of the energy for all of us to, as they say, find your tribe, find your people to connect with that will have your back over the next 20 years of this long transit. And that may require getting out of a comfort zone, getting out of the usual groups and people you hang out with, and doing things a little differently. And I'm going to also say this. I would encourage everyone to learn new technologies. Otherwise, you will get left behind. Okay. So whatever that is for you, whatever you feel comfortable doing, but you've got to learn and grow, especially when Uranus goes into Gemini starting next summer and Pluto is in Aquarius. So from now, I would say start early. Now through 2028, you will set yourself up for success with the way things are evolving. The more you can learn, and the more you can learn about how technology can help you, can give you an advantage. Again, the right and good use of it. We're not talking about any other way. So whatever you're interested in that realm, you don't have to learn everything. My God, there's too much, but start figuring it out. If you've always been kind of interested in cryptos, again, not financial advice, but go learn about that. If you've been interested in, how to make an app, go learn how to do it, right? You see my point. Okay. It's like start working with the energy of change. If you can get ahead of it, if you can kind of proactively see, which is what astrology does. It gives us an energetic possibility, right? It's the weather report of the skies. You can get ahead of the curve, and you'll be that much farther along than other people who don't follow astrology and don't have the inside track the way we do, right? Yes. All right. So again, there's so many opportunities, right? So there's ChatGPT, there's videos, there's apps you can create now that will write the code for you. There's, of course, there's so many ways, right? There's so many things. People can become day traders now when you couldn't really do that before because of the technology, etc. So many, it is about using the energies. But yeah, thank you, Shell. But Aquarius, the fixed sign energies, I encourage you to adopt some sort of mantra for your Pluto and Aquarius transit, which emphasizes that You're going to use the energy and be flexible, right? And whatever may come up. And it's about also exploring the different possibilities and opportunities that may come up, right? The alternatives. Because fixed sign energy can sometimes also get stuck in this either or, like it's either this way or that way. So try to also, see where there may be 5 or 6 different possibilities and opening up your mind to that. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Capricorns who are in the chat right now. a lot of Capricorns, and we survived. It was not easy. But again, I want to emphasize that some of the hardness was the other things that were going on in the sky, right? That I mentioned before, that were adding another layer of stress. Now, of course, Capricorn, we will have Saturn going into Aries. When is it going in? I have so many dates in my brain right now. Why can't I remember? It's not March. Let me look real fast, because that's going to bug me. Like, I've been working on this book, so I have so many dates in my head. I can't remember. Oh my God. All right. Saturn, Aries. Let's see. Calculate. May 25th, 2025. There you go. Okay. May 25th, 2025. All right. So, yeah, right. So Capricorns are still here. So we will, though, Capricorn, have our ruling planet in Aries squaring our Capricorn placements at some point from the end of May. It was May, right? May 2025 going forward. But Saturn will retrograde back into Pisces the second half, I think, of 2025. But then 2026, he'll come back around again. So, we'll have that, but we won't have Pluto in our sign to deal with. So we can handle Saturn and Aries. That's not it will be fine. I think that's going to be interesting with Neptune and Aries, though. That's going to be very, very interesting. So if you are going to have Saturn and Aries in your 8th house transit, you got to really get serious and buckle down with your money, with any stuff that is unhealthy and toxic. You really got to have structure, budgets. There can be restrictions and delays, or just a lot of heavy seriousness with other people's money. Okay. So you get your financial house in order now. Yeah, I agree, Relitza. Saturn in the 2nd house is not fun, and Saturn on your Venus is not fun. I will attest to that. I've been going through that the last year. Because again, it can just cause, restrictions and delays. It could be like, again, I like to use examples. Saturn in my 2nd house put a delay on me, really working in my business and making money, right? The 2nd house, because I was taking care of my father a lot, elderly person, Saturn. Okay. So, things manifest in different ways. That's why I always say apply the energies to your life. But we are happy that it's leaving Capricorn, because I think, especially the first, couple years with the support of Uranus and Gemini, we can leverage that energy. And I think, have some powerful, cathartic, interesting, and warp speed changes. But again, Gemini is all about learning, communication, experimentation, curiosity, which is why I'm saying if you're interested in different technology things, get in on it now, start learning it so you can get ahead of the curve. Having again, 2 things, 2 options, Uranus and Gemini, but Pluto will support those changes because it will be in a supportive trine with Uranus and Gemini. So, But yeah, we can talk a little bit more. Let's talk about here's another example. Anybody have Mercury in Taurus in the early degrees? I do. So I have Mercury in Taurus at the second degree, and Pluto will basically be squaring my Mercury. My Mercury's in the fourth house. What does this mean? Right? It's still in my first house, Pluto. So it may mean I need to get out of the house. It may mean I need to take my message out and get out of the house, transform the way I'm doing something. Okay, use the energy. What did I just do? I signed up for a psychic festival that I will be doing in March. Okay, so this is what we're talking about, using the energy. It could be also using the power of one's own experiences in a foundational way through self-expression. So maybe, and this is like kind of pouring the energy into the book that I'm writing now for 2025. So, so again, practical application. Okay, so let's see. My Aries sister was not too nice to me with my Capricorn moon in my 11th house. Only the last 2 years, she started being a bit more nice. Okay. A fight with her last night shows the last days of Pluto. Yes, it might. It might. Pluto will stay in my first house in Aquarius after being there in Cap. Okay, let's answer this question. So then Capricorn is your 12th house. So ideally, what should have been going on since Pluto's been in Capricorn for you since 2008 is, again, not fun, but a dredging up of all and any psychological, emotional, whatever baggage that you might have. Okay, that is the 12th house. It is the closet, right? It's the closet of our life. We like to shove things in the closet. We don't want to look at it. We don't want to deal with it. It's the subconscious shit that can trip us up. It's the house of self-undoing, right? It's the ways we can sabotage ourselves because we have, sometimes we have a trauma brain programming running, or we just have just a lot of stuff left over that we haven't wanted to look at. So, hey, Sharon. So, the last 12 years, as Pluto's gone through that 12th house, it has been, again, not every day, but maybe at certain triggering periods, it's been bringing a lot of psychological baggage, for want of a better word, for you to look at and deal with and face and get rid of it, in the sense of making peace with it, healing it, figuring out how to work with it or overcome it. I mean, whatever, because I don't, whatever your situation is. But so that when Pluto goes into Capricorn, you are freer and less burdened by that stuff, because there will be other things that you will be dealing with. It's kind of like the 12th house can be like a period of isolation. It can be like almost like going through a dark portal until you get out the other side. It can be like going through a birth canal. Right. So you, in a way, Pluto going into Aquarius, your rising sign, is birthing you. Just like, here you go, into this new existence. And it will, if you work with the energy, help empower you into a new identity, free of all the baggage that you, again, should have released when Pluto was in your 12th house. So I hope that makes sense. So again, this is just general, because I don't know a person's like other placements or things going on, but anybody else who is Aquarius rising, this applies to you also. Yes, thank you. That is beautifully said, Jaroslaw. Pluto's metamorphosis, yes, because it rules the 8th house, which is Scorpio. Nothing is left the same. Thinking, seeing, working. It's not a theory. It's pure experience. Yes. Yes. And remember too, as I always say, it is about our response to what is going on. We have, and in that we have choices. We have choices in our response. We may not always have a choice in outside events, right? I mean, but we have a choice in responding, so that's what Got to figure out. Okay. So Aquarius, if we have a north node in Aquarius, all right. So if you have a north or south node, we'll talk about both of those. Yeah, we definitely want Buh-Bye. Buh-Bye. I love that expression. All right. So again, like it depends on the house that your nodes are in. That's important. Houses are important. So your north node, they call it the head of the dragon. South node is the tail of the dragon, right? I like to look at it as where you're going, where you've been. That's north, south. But even where we go, we still bring our past with us. So the two work together. Like you can't just be like, oh, my north node. It's also what is going on, where's your south node, and what's happening too, right? Unless the dragon is decapitated, we still have the head and the tail, right? You know what I'm saying? So like you have both things. So you can't ignore the south node either. Okay. So again, Pluto, as Jaroslav was saying, is about it's about raw primal experience. And it can be about experiences that are life-changing. I mean, they can be that deep and profound. And that doesn't mean bad. I gotta emphasize, every time I say these types of things, I gotta emphasize it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it could change your life in very deep and profound ways that could be very life-changing. That's why I say, like, the point of no return. Once this happens and you choose it, life won't be the same again, right? It's like a karmic reboot. We're going in a different direction, etc. So if Pluto goes over your north node, and again, depends on the house, but it can be a time of really choosing to step into your the next phase of growth in your life and saying goodbye to the old, which means, of course, also that Pluto would be opposite your south node in Leo. And Leo can be about the self, the ego needs. It can be about, of course, creativity. It's all fifth house related. So creativity, children, unless, because we don't know the houses, right? You didn't tell us that. But Leo can be very self-orientated, whereas Aquarius is very other orientated in terms of it ruling the 11th house. So it's groups and networks and connections and friends and things like that, and hopes and wishes and dreams. So it could be that with Pluto going over your north node in Aquarius, that you're being called to really step into the opportunity lessons of being of service to other people, to the wider collective, to taking your place among the wider collective, to bring powerful help, changes, energy, and not doing it for ego needs. South Node Leo, right? So again, that's just a general way to look at it. Okay, so then you would have your South Node in the 10th house. So the fourth house, yes, it could be home, family, roots, but it's also, as I like to say on the channel, what nourishes you and feeds you. So what is feeding you? What is the foundation you need in your life to feel secure that will feed you? And I mean literally feed you, like you make money at it and you take care of yourself, but also feeds you in a creative way, in a spiritual way, etc. So, that's the challenge. You already know how to do a career. See, this is the thing with the South Node, right? The South Node is what you are gifted at. You already know how to do this it could be from your most recent past life. It could be from past lives you had many times before and you've done it many, many times. And that's why the North Node can be a little more challenging for people because you do need to, I like to like step into it. It's like, it is a doorway of power and possibility to step into. It's easy to stay in the South Node. Yeah, I know how to do that. That's a comfort zone. I know how to do it. The challenge is the North Node. So, wherever you have your North Node, think of it, I encourage you to think of it that way, because that's the part of greatest growth opportunity when you step into it. And it can look different, right? It doesn't always have to look one way. It depends, right? So, again, I don't like to talk about myself, but I'm going to use myself, my chart as an example, just because it's just easier. I have my North Node in Cancer in my 7th house of relationships. Um, and relationships have been my greatest challenge in this lifetime. I'm talking about personal relationships. I just find it easier, my South Node in the 1st house, Capricorn, to be on my own. It's just easier. That's my comfort zone, right? But my challenge has been that North Node in Cancer. So the way I have accepted that challenge and the way hopefully I am growing is that I choose to have more relationships, nurturing relationships, 7th house, other people, with more people, in terms of my YouTube channel, the clients I work with. When I taught writing classes, the students I had, like, that was the way for me to step into that North Node in Cancer. Okay, so it doesn't have to look just one way, is my point. But that, if we look at your natal chart really is an opportunity of growth, right? It is an opportunity of growth. You have certain gifts in there in your natal chart. You have certain challenges. You have certain blind spots. You have certain, it's interesting, right? It doesn't mean like that's hard and fast, but it's always about, how do I work with those energies? And then the transits that are affecting your natal chart give you those opportunities to work with. So, and that's I got on a tangent there. Okay, let's see some other. I hope that answered the question. But again, you out there, apply the energies to your life too. Okay, so we have 6 degrees Capricorn, Terry, Pisces moon. Lost both my parents September 30th, dad on October 12th. Yeah, okay. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry. It's so hard to lose our parents. It's really hard. Yeah, now M. Ryan is making a very interesting point here. I focused a lot on the big transformations and the hard challenges of Pluto 1st house, but also 1st house, because that does rule our physical body. And as M is saying here, got into the best shape of my life. I ran my first marathon. Congratulations. Good on you. That is excellent. That is a very positive way of using Plutonian energy to transform, right? By creating physical health with your body, right? Fantastic. Very nice. Okay, John is saying, I get along with pretty much almost everyone who is Aquarius. I am 3rd decan Virgo. My first 4 houses are all Virgo. How are your first 4 houses all Virgo? That I don't get. Okay. M. Ryan, North Node 29 Capricorn, opportunity to take a very South Node-ish job. I literally, you didn't fall into the trap. Very good. Literally did 25 years ago. Nope. Buh-Bye. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. So because Pluto going on that North Node in your 1st house is really, you did the bodily transformation, right? Now it's like you're stepping into the rest of whatever you want to transform in your life. Our body is our foundation. We have to have that in order. Hey, I'm not the best example of this. I still eat too many sweets. I'm trying to get back to the gym. Now that my dad's passed, I have a little more time, right? Trying to get back to the gym. But my point is that, we work on different things in different stages, and you laid that physical foundation, which is excellent. Good on you. And now you're like, okay, wait a minute. Yeah, I want to step into this North Node of this new identity, this powerful identity for myself. Pluto helped me build that foundation with my physical body. Now let's see what else is out there for me. I'm not going to get sucked into, if it's the 7th house for you, a relationship or a situation. A job is a relationship, right? Of something that I did before that is not aligned for my identity anymore. Good on you. Because so often people fall back into the South Node trap. But again, it's the balance, right? Because the South Node is not inherently bad. And the North Node is not some, inherently good thing either. It's about both things, because you bring your butt with you, right? You bring your South Node with you. So it's very interesting. I love all these examples. Okay, so let's see what else we have. Tammy is saying Venus and Chiron in Aquarius, 9th house. Okay, Capricorn, Sun, 7th. Okay. Hopeful to collaborate with others much better instead of isolating. Okay, yeah. Okay. So we don't know. You don't know what degree that is. Okay. I got the I got the fattest I've ever been with this Pluto and Cap, my first house. It truly transformed my body, but not my choice. Yes. Well, Pluto's giving you the opportunity to decide what you want to do with that. Okay. There may be other things going on in your chart. I don't know, but you know, okay. The other thing that the South Node is called is the dragon's tail, right? The dragon's head. It's Rahu and Ketu. Rahu, North Node, Ketu, South Node. Okay. And Carol is a Capricorn. Okay. All right. So give me some other examples. Give me some other things you'd like to know about. Okay, so Carol's saying, I lost 95 pounds under Pluto through help from my endocrinologist. Excellent. Yes. And that's the thing too, as we know, is that our food in America is not the best, shall we say. I'm not talking about, junk food, but, just the things that are in our food are not really supporting our well-being. So Pluto can help us clean up toxins, right? Endocrine disruptors, there's all sorts of things like that. And that those can be challenging for us because they keep the weight on. So, and again, not medical advice. This is just, in general, but Carol found that worked for her to go to an endocrinologist. Okay, how long? This is a good question. Diane's asking, how long will this shift take from Capricorn to Aquarius before we see changes? Okay, well, a lot depends on your chart, right? And if you're using whole houses or you're using unequal houses, Placidus system, Sharon has had major shifts already. And it depends what else is going on in your chart and your placements. Okay, so that's the first thing. Pluto in general moves slow. Pluto can be incremental over time. And as I was saying before, it's like sometimes you can have something happen and a big thing you got to respond to. And then things are at a lull for a little while. And then something else could pop in. But it could also be that it's because something else is going on in the sky as well. But I would say when we have a planet that goes into another sign, this is just in general, we can usually have it at its most impactful when it crosses over. So I would say, we could all see, let me look up when Pluto goes to 1 degree. Okay, let me just look that up for 1 second. Because I don't remember how long he's going to be at 0 degrees. So let's just check. Okay, February 22nd. Oh, wait, hold on. Why is it not showing me 2025? Oh, that's when he retroed. Okay, here we go. Sorry, just had a brain fart. All right, December 29th, 2024, Pluto will be back at 1 degree Aquarius. So when, as I said, he immediately goes into the next sign, right? He's hovering at that 0 degrees. That is oftentimes when planets are most intense, but of course they can be intense anytime, but when they shift the signs. So as an example, next June, when Uranus goes into Gemini, we will maybe see that, feel that, see things in the news about that a lot more when it first goes in. So I would say between Tuesday, which is the 19th, when Pluto finally gets out of Capricorn for good, bye-bye, right? Until that day in December, what did I say, the 29th, there may be that window, may be the most impactful. And again, though, it depends, right? It depends. Pluto's cleared my South Node in Capricorn. But, I'm trying to think, what do I have? I don't have, the only thing I have at an early degree, look at your early degrees. Okay, so look at 0, 1 degree-ish in your whole chart. Look at that and be like, what planets do I have there? I have Taurus, Mercury, 2 degrees, as I told you before. I have Jupiter 1 degree Aries. Okay. And then my midheaven degree is 0 degrees Scorpio. Okay. Where my 10th house starts. What else do I have? I have, what is that? Uranus. I have Uranus at 1 degree Virgo. I don't have anything else though. And Uranus, I'm not really counting that. So look and see what you might have. And how is it squaring? Is it conjunct? Do you have anything in Aquarius right there? Do you have something in early Leo, early Taurus, early Scorpio? Then we're dealing with those energies. Jupiter, as I said, for me is at 1 degree Aries. So I will have Pluto in a favorable sextile to my Jupiter in the 3rd house. So it's definitely time for me to be working with the transformative power and energies of expressing myself, 1st house, the self, through my writing, teaching, speaking, networking, sales, 3rd house, right? Pluto can help my Jupiter with that. And because it's squaring my Mercury, it may help me come up with some innovative ideas in those areas. So you have to kind of look at everything together, but it could be that from now until December 29th may be the most impactful times as Pluto goes into Aquarius. Yes, absolutely, creator, 100%, right? Pluto has been squaring Chiron and Aries at times. Pluto was also squaring, I don't know, was he squaring Uranus exactly when Uranus was in Aries? I would have to look back at the ephemeris. But yes, that is true. Chiron and Aries has not been exactly fun either. Goodbye, Jay. Thank you for joining. Okay. Okay. So Donna is asking, my 18-year-old son is very psychic. He is in his 1st year of college and acting, a Pisces rising with Neptune and part of fortune in the 12th. And now transplacement of Pluto, new energy. Okay. So I'm assuming then that Aquarius is his 12th house. So Pluto will be going in his 12th house. His part of fortune is there. So, like I was saying about the 12th house before. Okay, let me think here. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, I'm having a brain fart. I need another sip of my coffee. So it depends. Where does his 12th house start? Like what degree of Aquarius does his 12th house start? If you know, that would be helpful. And what degree is his part of fortune? So part of fortune, in case anyone does not know, it can be it's a mathematical calculation. It can be the lucky point in your chart. It can bring opportunities. It's a gift. So you have your part of fortune in the 12th house. It can definitely, your gift can be your psychic ability. It can be your ability to channel. So for him, it's not about overthinking. It is about really channeling his roles. And I would say also, whatever he's doing for acting, that he may be, and this may be subconscious, but it could also be more conscious. If he makes it more conscious, it might be interesting for him to take on roles that he is very consciously drawn to because they may be connected with something he did in a past life. Okay. So yeah, so he channels on stage. I'm not surprised. He could also be a very good medium, like improv, where he's just fully like embodying, but also taking roles where he is, and he probably will have a sixth sense about this, that it's like something from, like he's done it before in a past life. Like let's say, again, I like examples. Like let's say all of a sudden he's drawn to like, oh, I want to be a cowboy in this movie, right? Like, he goes for that role. It's like, it's probably because he has a strong past life connection with something like that. Like, and he doesn't have to intellectualize it. Intellectualizing is not going to help him. Also, if it's the part of fortune, the 12th house Aquarius, he probably has an innate, I-N-N-A-T-E, innate ability to tap into futuristic trends before they become trends. So he really needs to follow just his own guidance with the roles and the things that he takes on, and not try to overthink it too much. So, um, well, 29th is the critical degree. 17-degree Pisces. Is Neptune what's his rising degree? Is Neptune on his rising? I don't know, but that's just in general. We don't want to get too bogged down on that, but that's in general. Okay, Melissa's saying, I have Cap rising and North Node in the 5th house Taurus, along with Moon and Venus. Okay. All right, so how has Pluto in Capricorn, Melissa, encouraged you to really make something of your creative talents, really tap more into doing things for pleasurable reasons, maybe to start your own business if you're into that, because the 5th house is the house of the entrepreneur. So, how has Pluto in your rising, in your house of identity, helped you transform your identity and accept your creative side, encouraged you to go for it? So you have a very powerful 5th house. If you have Moon, of course, Moon is also in a good place in Taurus. And of course, Venus rules Taurus. So the North Node, heading toward those opportunities of creativity. And creativity can also be 5th house's children as well. So it can be with literal children. It could be with, people, places, projects that you're nurturing, 5th house. So all of that type of thing. Okay. Patty, what do we need to figure out? Let me know. Okay. You're welcome, Donna. Okay. JC is saying Pluto is conjunct my natal Saturn now in my 11th. Okay. And my Venus is 22 degrees Aquarius. Okay. So is Venus still in your 11th or in your 12th? If it's 22 degrees Aquarius, you won't have to worry about Pluto for a while conjuncting your Venus. So let's think here. Saturn in the 11th. So Saturn in the 11th can bring heaviness, restrictions, delays, seriousness. It is a heavy energy. Of course, it rules your sign, Capricorn. But in terms of connecting with other people, friendships, it can bring isolation. But it could be that, you're always the older, wiser, more mature one in whatever group that you're in, 11th house. So I would say, Pluto conjunct your Saturn in the 11th is for you to really make your own networks. Really make your own networks. And I would say also, if you've been holding yourself back in some way, Saturn is a tricky energy. Because Saturn can sometimes make us feel less than, because he's it's Saturn. If you've been holding yourself back or limiting yourself in some way by the groups and people you're associating with, like, again, JC, I'm not saying anything about you personally, but it can be like, oh, well, I don't feel like I can be with that group of people because I don't have XYZ, or I am not XYZ. So like no friends, isolated. Pluto could be giving you the key to, using that in an empowering way by, if you so choose, is to go out and find the people who resonate with your energy. That it may not, you got to work wherever Saturn is, you got to work harder. That's the nature of Saturn. So if you have Saturn in the 11th, unfortunately, you can feel like sometimes the odd one out, and you have to work harder at friendships, groups, and connections. And by work harder, it can just mean you need to work harder at finding the people that resonate with you. You shouldn't just take on anybody, right, as your friend. But it could be that Pluto is encouraging you or helping you transform and wanting to get you out of that isolation, right? And realizing that if you want this in your life, and you may not, I mean, some people don't want friends, it's fine. But if you do want this in your life, Pluto's saying, then you've got to transform it. It's just not going to come to you. So that's what I would suggest. Again, always using the energy. But it could also mean it is possible that there could be a new powerful connection on its way to you that could help bust you out of that isolation. So it could be an invitation from the universe, right? Or a literal person or an entity like a group or something. Come to this place. We're having this event. And if you decide to do that, you could meet one or two people who could become friends. But again, you got to use the energy. So, that's a possibility. But it's a heavy energy. I mean, Saturn in the 11th house is not easy. And Pluto on that. I mean, I'm just, it's just, you got to get out. You got to get out there. You got to get out of the house. You got to, you got to keep trying. You got to keep trying is what I would say. Well, I know you have that going on too. So, but hopefully, where is your first house again? Is Pisces, right? Pisces, Aries. That's coming for you. That's coming, especially when Saturn goes into Aries. So that's going to be coming for you. Rolling Rainbow is saying, where did that comment go about the old crone? Where'd that go? Did Saturn used to be seen as the old crone, a wise old woman? I mean, sure, you can read it that way. I'm up for somewhat flexible, not totally out to lunch, but somewhat flexible interpretations. I mean, Saturn, we take it from the ancients, right? When they had all these like male, female archetypes and whatever, gender-based. But it is an energy that's associated with the elders. If you want to make it an old crone, God bless. Okay. It doesn't have to be just like it's an old wrinkled man, sitting in a chair in the forest somewhere. Okay. It doesn't have to be that. Okay. When Saturn goes into Aries, okay, and Neptune, because I think doesn't Neptune rule part of your first house also? That's going to bring the transformation you want. So JC, so what I would do is I would, with the Pluto Saturn, focus on the transformation that you want to create in your social circle. And maybe, do some, whatever you want, your journaling, vision boarding, whatever you want to do about calling in people to create a powerful circle around you of supportive friends, because you don't need a lot. You just need a few people who have your back. That's what you need, right? But Pluto's saying, like, let's transform that isolating energy into one of, okay, I am going to make this happen. It may be a little bit of a timing issue because of the other things about the surgery. Okay, but in the meantime, right? Because in the meantime, we can still do stuff. Even if there's things out here that haven't quite shifted yet, in the meantime, we can still work with whatever energy we can work with, right? So I can do that. I can write the affirmations for myself. I can do visualizations of seeing myself in a circle of maybe 5 women, writing every other week and, writing poetry or whatever. I mean, whatever floats your boat, JC, whatever. Like, I know you do the improv, you do different things, right? It can be like, I see myself in this little group of people once a month. We meet somewhere in New York and we do XYZ and it's just fun. Okay. Like, start even just visualizing yourself and putting yourself in that energy. Okay. If you can't meet people in person, then find an online group where you don't have to show your face that makes you feel comfortable. Right. And you can just share ideas or talk or whatever you want to do. Okay. But start visualizing it for yourself. Saturn and Neptune come very close to meeting one another in 2025, but the exact conjunction is in 2026. I don't have that date at the top of my head, Jaroslav, but It's the absolute exact conjunction 2026, but they get like within 1 degree of each other in Aries in 2025. Okay. So, all right, let's see. All right, Reiki Cowgirl is also saying, I also have Saturn in the 11th. Friendship's really hard. CPTSD from childhood bullying. Yeah. Yeah, that's at Saturn. And Saturn, because it's heavy, and Saturn can be about fitting in and conformity, because it rules Capricorn, and Capricorn's about standards and structures and all that. We can feel like when Saturn's in the 11th that we don't live up to conforming. We're the odd person out, in other words, like I said before. So it can be a hard placement, especially it can be hard placement anytime, as an adult or as a kid. It's just hard. But again, it's like we all have hard energy somewhere in our charts. I have not seen one chart yet in my existence that didn't have something in there that could be seen as challenging, problematic, something that was a trigger or whatever. I've not seen one chart yet. So you're welcome, JC. So, when whatever we have, we all got something. All right. So it's like, okay, how do I try to navigate this? That's what I feel, guys. This, like how I believe astrology and tarot can be in people's lives. It is an empowerment tool, and we don't give our power away. We don't just throw up our hands and say, oh, I got this going on in my chart, so just F it. I'm not going to even deal with it. We do the best we can. It's not like we have to always fix everything, but we try to navigate it. We try to learn from it. We try to heal and grow from it as best we can. Nobody's expecting perfection. We do the best we can. Okay. And if we have Saturn in the 11th and we know this, right? We can be like, okay, then maybe I just need to know that I got to feel comfortable or learn how to feel comfortable with being the outsider, being the one that's probably not going to have, again, probably, depending on what else you got going on in your chart. I'm probably not going to be with a big group of friends. That's just not probably going to be in the cards for me. I mean, it still could be, but maybe that'll happen later in maturity, because Saturn is about older age, right? So maybe after age 40, that might happen. But when you're younger, and this is why I think people should learn astrology when they're teenagers. So they learn their chart. We help the teenagers navigate things, because especially when we're younger, when we have things like this going on, it really hurts even more, right? So how can I feel comfortable in myself? How can I still do things I enjoy? Or how can I just find 2 or 3 people who are my ride or dies, my little inner circle? And it might be little, right? It might just be a couple people. Can I be okay with that? So that's, again, it's the best. We all do the best we can with whatever we have going on in our charts. That's a little, Okay, I answered the question, Patty. Good. Okay, Vera, where is your Aquarius? Do you know what degree? Where's your Aquarius? Where's your Venus in Aquarius? What degree? Can you tell me the degree? That would be helpful. Okay, Aurora is saying, transiting Pluto in my 10th is opposite my natal sad Saturn in 4th Leo. Okay, I'm trying to get this straight here. Will square my moon in Taurus first very soon, and then Venus and Uranus, North Node Scorpio in 7th. Okay. Oddly enough, it's been bad, even with the trine. Okay, well, let's see. Pluto in my 10th. Opposite natal. Sometimes it's hard. I'm very visual, so I'm trying to visualize the chart here in my head. So, and my Mercury in Taurus is slow, so just bear with me here. We'll square my moon in Taurus first. Okay, very soon. Okay. But Pluto's been in your 10th Capricorn. So is Pluto still going to be in your 10th house when it goes into Aquarius? Aurora? I'm just trying to I'm trying to visualize this for myself. But Pluto's squaring your moon in the 1st house. That's going to be an interesting energy. But I'm assuming Aquarius is your 11th house then, or your probably still your part of your 10th house. So there may be some sort of change with your career that prompts a move. Your moon, or how you emotionally define and see yourself in your career. But I would say there may be a very strong possibility that something changes with your career and there needs to be a move. Or it could be your career goes to the next level, you start making more money, and you're like, oh, I can get a better place to live. That's another possibility. Okay, so, again, I'm having a hard time kind of visualizing the chart, but isn't Saturn also about longevity? Yes, it is. Could also be about whatever you invest in paying off over time and lasting forever. 100%. Yes. Which is why, right? You brought up a very good point, M. Ryan, is that, if you have Saturn in the 11th, like we were saying, and you choose to invest, right, in a couple close relationships or friendships rather than trying to be friends with everybody, over time, those friendships are probably going to last for you. So yes, right. Quality versus quantity. That is the key. And as somebody else also said, where did that go? About the in crowd, the creator said the in crowd will be out with Pluto and Aquarius. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because Pluto in Capricorn has brought up to the light the institutions, including celebrity institutions, shall we just say, that have some dubious shenanigans going on. And people are very, disgruntled with some of the things they've been hearing and seeing, alleged, we'll just say alleged, with musicians and actors and, people of that ilk, shall we say. Politicians, I mean, whatever the in crowd is for you. So, Aquarius always strikes me as a little bit of the underdog, like Aries, right? And Aquarius is about the quirky, the eccentric, the outlier, the unique, the eccentric. So, like the creator's saying, it's like, those are the qualities. Those are going to be the things. The people, the rebel, right? The people who, in a good way, not just rebel for rebel's sake, but who are willing to march to the beat of their own drum in helpful and healing ways for people, and people creating their kind of their own little groups and networks. Because let's not forget 11th house, also Aquarius, right? Of like-minded people. Very different energy. Very different energy. Okay, listen. Yeah. So Jaroslaw, and thank you for all your comments. Everybody, you're making such beautiful comments here. Thank you. Really good discussion we're having. Jaroslaw is saying, advice to Aquarius, be ready that some of the old friends will drop out. Don't worry, you will meet no ones. Absolutely. Because Pluto's going to get rid of the trash. Pluto helps you take out the trash. Sometimes it's better to be on your own than with the wrong people. Yes, Pluto can absolutely help you remember that. Yes. Okay. All right. I'm a Cap, Pisces rising, and Leo moon with my second Saturn return, Jupiter return, and have Pluto in Virgo. Do I look at Pluto in my 12th with Venus conjunct Mars in Aquarius or second house? Okay. All right. So if you're a Pisces rising, then Pluto probably is in your 12th. If you're, I don't know what house system you're using, if you're using unequal house system. Okay, so yeah, I would say Pluto's probably in your 12th. And I've kind of already talked about that before. So I don't know if you just came in on the video, but you might want to go back and look at what I said about that. Dear Stella, do you use astrocartography? I have dipped my toe into astrocartography. I find it's interesting. And I do really think that it can be very instructive. Is it the be all end all? But I do think there can be geographical cures or geographical problems, depending on what line you're talking about. So as an example, I have my Mercury line running through, I am not kidding you, running through Paris, France. Hello, Bobo. Hey, Bobo. Running through Paris. And what language, again, Mercury line, what language did I study in school? French. What language was I really good at? French. I feel like I was French in my most recent past life. Okay. So it came very naturally to me. I think that's interesting, right? And when I saw that my astrocartography Mercury line was through Paris, I was like, of course it is. Of course it is. And when I've traveled there, and just a couple times I've been, I just felt like this my brain, again, Mercury, right, was like on fire, and I got so much mental stimulation from being there, and it's a very interesting vibe. Now, I'd like to go to Las Vegas, okay, because that's where my Pluto line is. So I'd like to just see, like just for a trip, not for a whole big thing, like what would it be like to be on a Pluto line? I don't think you want to live on a Pluto line. That may not be the best thing, but and like I think my Jupiter line is like running smack dab through the middle of the United States. So it's just, it's just interesting to see. Yeah, exactly. A Pluto line, you got to be very, very careful. So yeah, if you go on, I like Astrodienst, which is astro.com. They have one of their chart selections is that you can put in for your astrocartography lines and see where they are. And it's interesting. I mean, I haven't really used it as a predictive technique, but just more as just like interesting. Let me just see what's going on. So yeah, it's fun. It's like another layer of information sharing, right? It's like another thing to just, oh, that's interesting, like where am I living? What's going on? And the other thing that that's interesting, yeah, Pluto line is not for the weak, Susanna. You might want to look at your astrocartography and see where to go next. What was I going to say? Oh, the other thing I think is really interesting too, is so Creator, that could be good for you, right? Since you're a Cap rising, it could be good to be on your Saturn line. The other thing that's interesting to look at also is that places do have charts. So you can figure out, okay, well, where am I living? What's its chart and whatever. So, when I was living in North Carolina is a Scorpio state. And of course, I have my moon in Scorpio and it's my 10th house. So I felt very like aligned in North Carolina. Now, a different issue is where I am now in Maryland. Maryland is a Taurus state, and that's my 4th house. And, that's an interesting energy because my family is here, right? So there's been more family things and dynamics going on with being in Maryland. So it's just interesting. And then of course your town can also have its chart when it was incorporated. So you can look at that and see where the planets fall within your own town. So, so yeah, it depends on what types of experiences, Chrissy, that you want to have. I mean, if you want to have deep transformative experience like Pluto can bring to your life, then live on your Pluto line. If you want something easier, live on like your Venus line. It's supposed to be easier. You could live on your Jupiter line. California is Virgo. So what's going to be very interesting, just to, think about, astro.com. The South Node is going to get ready to go into Virgo in January, middle of January. And I'm going to be very curious to see what this brings up for California. Because that poor state has been through so many things, and things getting run into the ground, and just people leaving the state. California is a beautiful state. It's gorgeous, only been there a couple times, but I mean, the people are so friendly. The people I met, the places I went to, San Francisco, and I went to San Diego. So I haven't been anywhere in between, but I mean, just beautiful. But it's been rough. It's been rough for California, with people have been leaving there in droves because of crime and taxes and so many different things. So, South Node, as we know, brings about opportunities for release when it's transiting through our charts. So I don't know the exact degree of California's sun. I don't have that info in my immediate data bank, but it's just going to be interesting to see, because the sun is our ego, our identity, our energy, what's going to be going on. So, and I don't know Newsom's chart. I don't know his chart off the top of my head, but so that'll be interesting. Okay, so Moon Goddess is saying, I had my chart done 2 years ago, and he said I'm a 9th house Cancer, but every astro chart I've done says I'm 8th house. Well, he might have been using whole sign houses. So you really have to find out. You have to find out, like I use exclusively unequal houses, Placidus. Other people use whole sign. You have to find out and make sure you know which house system your astrologer is using. So that's where the discrepancy can come in. Yeah, I'm sorry, Aurora, that you've been through that situation. So maybe it's time to get off that Pluto line, right? Find a place that's more happy for you on your Jupiter or Venus line. Okay, KC, I keep moving back to DC 4 times. That's interesting. I moved abroad in 2004. I lived on my Pluto line for a year. It was deep. Okay. We answered California. Okay. Ohio. I don't know what Ohio is off the top of my head. I have to look it up. Pluto and Capricorn was totally looking forward to change. Yes. Yes. Like Manhattan, where I've also lived, that is a Capricorn sun. And I believe it has an Aries moon. So I felt so at home in New York. I'll tell you. Just was like, it's like, this is my energy. This is my place. This is my people. I didn't really have a line running through there, but the energy was very resonant of my own chart. So that was interesting. Okay. My moon is also in Scorpio. I wonder if moon lines make one. Yes. Yeah. I wasn't even thinking about the moon line, but yes. Yeah. So look at your own chart and see like the places you lived or the places that you're drawn to, like what is their astrology and what might that experience bring out for you? It's interesting. Florida is Pisces. Okay. Florida is a Pisces state, which makes a lot of sense, actually, when you think about it. Right. I've never been to Florida, but I have heard that there's some interesting people down there, so which ties into the very Piscean vibe. Connecticut is Capricorn. That I know. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry you lost your puppies, Nicola. That's terrible. And your dad too. Yeah, so KC, you probably would feel the vibe too of Manhattan. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know Ohio. I'd have to look it up. I'm not sure what New York State is, KC. I just know Manhattan. I mean, you can Google these things. I just don't know everything off the top of my head. I mean, I know a lot, but I don't know everything up here. I think UK is an Aries country, I believe. So UK, if I'm remembering correctly, United Kingdom, England is going to go through some interesting stuff as Neptune and Saturn go into Aries. So buckle up, Buttercup, as they say. Canada, I'm not sure. Yeah, so I mean, I think that the cardinal signs will have a little bit of an easing up because, as I said, Saturn will go into Aries until the end of May. We'll have a little bit of a breather, but a lot's going to switch into Pisces, North Node in Pisces, and then South Node in Virgo in January. And then we will have, of course, Pluto going into Aquarius. So the fixed signs. So, I mean, I think we get a slight break, cardinal signs. So Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, we get a little bit of a break here. Okay, so DC is Cancer. That's interesting. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so move from New Jersey to Florida and feel so light and easygoing. That's good. Yeah, so Bobo, the cat, as some of you may know, my cat Ariel died in April of intestinal lymphoma, broke my heart. Bobo was my sister's cat, and he was living with 3 dogs. She has 3 big horses. So he was feeling a little like, lost in the shuffle. And after Ariel, I was so distraught that I was like, okay, I can't be on my own. So let me borrow. I borrowed Bobo. But we do know his birth date because one of my sister's friends had the mom, and the mom had kittens. So we know his birth date. So we can look up his chart. And he has the moon in Pisces conjunct Venus in Pisces. And he's a Taurus. And he has Mercury in Taurus also. And he has Mars in Libra and Jupiter in Cancer. And his chart and my chart go very well together, actually. So he's been a delight. I mean, he's funny. He's very funny. And he can be a very stubborn Taurus. And he loves his food, which is very Taurus. But he's very sensitive. He's got the Pisces edge. Okay, Aries, yes. So Aries people, if you really want to lose weight, of course, it depends on your rising sign because that rules the physical body. But Saturn can be a weight loss energy to tap into, and Saturn will be going into Aries at the end of May 2025. So you could work with that energy. And again, working with Saturn is discipline, structure, routine. Okay. And Aries means you get your ass to the gym. Yes, diet's important, but Aries is it's ruled by Mars, right? So it is the physical activity and routine and structure. And I like gym classes personally. I don't always like going by myself. I love the energy of a group exercise class. It's my favorite. But even if you don't have that, and I've been telling myself this because I got to get back to the gym too. I'm like, I got to go even if I'm just by myself on the treadmill. Like I got to start going more because there's not always classes that I want to do. I love my cycle class and I've been doing that. But, for other things, I've got to just go myself. But that's what you need. So Saturn and Aries, discipline, routine, not medical advice, but one thing that might see a resurgence. I mean, it's not really going out of style, but maybe like boot camp style stuff and CrossFit. I'm too old to be doing CrossFit. Okay. But if you're of the age, that could work for you. Again, it's like that like calisthenics, like military discipline and structure with Saturn and Aries to lose weight could be helpful. Check with your doctor, not medical advice. I always have to give these disclaimers. Okay. Yeah, that's Moon Goddess. That's what happened to Ariel. It was so upsetting. It's terrible. I don't know. I just don't know these things off the top of my head. You'll have to Google. I don't know what state Gemini is. I know some states. I don't know everything. Yeah. So I have had no discipline, and that's not like me as an Aries. Yeah. So whatever can make you accountable. And yeah, life is tough, right? We have so many responsibilities, matrescence. I hope you said your name right. We have so many responsibilities and things we have going on. But the way I do it, okay, this is how I structure my life. And this is very Saturn. It's very Capricorn. I have a passion planner. I don't know if you guys know that notebook. It's a planner. It's passionplanner.com, not a sponsor, not affiliated. But what I do is I write down everything I do every day in this planner. Every day I keep track of my time. And when I sign up for the classes, because you have to sign up for them ahead of time, I block off the time in my calendar and I color code everything in my journal. So pink is when I work on my business. Yellow is when I'm relaxing. Blue is when I'm journaling. Green is when I go to the gym. So I can see at the end of the week, where did I spend my time? And as a Capricorn, I love that accountability and I love that structure, and I see, and it helps me see where my life is getting out of balance. If there's too much yellow, I've been sitting on the sofa too much watching TV. No good. I got to bring it back more to pink or green or whatever. So find what works for you. And figure, figure it out. Whatever way you can have accountability and a little more structure, which I know can be hard when we have a lot of things going on. And always, if you can schedule it first for yourself, and if you put it in the schedule, it's kind of a non-negotiable. That's why classes are good, because at least the gym I'm going to now, you have to sign up for the class, especially the spin class, because there's only 13 seats. So if you don't sign up, you don't get in. And it's accountable, right? So whatever you can do with that, whether you put it in a calendar, whatever, structures and routines, they really do work. But Aries can be very structured as well, because it's that almost that like military discipline we can get from Mars, but the problem with Aries is that we don't always keep up with things, right? It's like we start it and then we don't always finish it. So, you got to just figure out what works for you. I've heard Burn Boot Camp is good. Again, not a sponsor. And Patty, she's involved with a lot of charity work, and then she'll get back to the gym. Neptune will be less pro-discipline, ask Bobo. I don't think so. Neptune going into Aries, I think what that's going to do, personally, I think it's going to make us a lot more. Again, Aries is independent and militant, right? That's the Aries is energy, right? Neptune coming in, we're going to be, it's Neptune. You could say you're going to fight for your right to party. Okay, that's Neptune. I'm going to fight for my right to party. It could be that, or you can be like, I'm going to fight for my personal boundaries. Right? I'm going to make it very clear what are my boundaries and what are not. I'm going to have a lot of discipline in order to achieve certain goals, like creative goals, spiritual goals, whatever. It depends on the house you have going on too. Okay. But it could be, it could be whatever. But I think Neptune as being a very creative and spiritual energy, imaginative, and Aries being about that discipline and structure. And don't forget, Saturn's also going to be in Aries. I think we can, if we harness that energy and use it appropriately, we could bring our dreams to life through discipline and focus. Right? But I feel like there's something important about fighting and securing your boundaries with that energy. That's what I feel. So, we'll see. And that's in a very broad brushstroke sense, but that's what I think. Who is on the Saturn return? Oh, okay. So Moon Goddess is having a Saturn return. Is it your first Saturn return or your second Saturn return? Okay. Okay. So M. Ryan saying F45 is good, like a CrossFit light. Okay. Good to know. Yes, we are saying bye, Kathy, right? To Pluto getting out of Capricorn. Okay. Yes, I've had 3 different jobs this year as an Aries. I've gained almost 30 pounds. And that's also, sometimes too, it's the cortisol. Again, I'm not a doctor and I don't play one on TV, but it is when we are in that stress and fight or flight because we have 3 jobs, or because we're taking care of an elderly parent, trying to run a business, doing this, that, and the other thing. It's the cortisol response, right? The adrenal response, which holds onto weight. And then sometimes we just eat bad things because we're stressed, right? Like, so, you got all those things. When you can get a little more calm in your life also, that can help with the weight loss. So, yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I love all the Les Mills programs. I love. I used to go to them all the time when I was in North Carolina, but this gym does not really have them up here. I have not found a gym that has them, and it makes me very sad. Makes me very sad. But I love Les Mills. Body Combat was my favorite. So yes, so there's just, yeah, everybody's got a lot going on. But so yeah, we'll take a few more questions and different things here. I'll go for another 15 minutes if somebody has questions, but um yeah, I don't have flexibility, so which is why I should probably do yoga and bar, but I'm afraid I'm going to throw my back out and that will be no fun. I don't know about that. Not in the immediate future, Kathy. At some point, maybe. I just don't know. Um, I had to sign another lease here because I would have had to move out of this apartment if I didn't renew it by December. And I'm still grieving for my father. I'm like, I cannot even imagine like trying to pack up this, move somewhere else. Like the timing was not right now. So maybe in early 2026, we'll see. I just don't know. And it's not that I don't like it here, but it was a big change from where I was before. And I'm still kind of navigating that. And the other thing too is, being here, it's been a lot about taking care of my dad. And now that he's no longer with us, it's kind of like, oh, okay, now, now what? So I want to give myself another chance here, now that I don't have that going on, and just like, let's see what evolves. So, so we will see how that happens. What am I excited about for the astrology this year? Helene, thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Fight or flight for 17 months. And yeah, gained weight. This happens, and try not to beat yourself up about it. It happens. It's okay. What am I excited about for the astrology? I am kind of excited about Pluto and Aquarius. We'll see. I am excited about Uranus and Gemini. I think that's going to be very interesting. What else am I really wish Chiron would get the hell out of Aries, but that's not happening for a while yet. I am very interested from a personal perspective of seeing what's going to happen when I have Neptune and Saturn on my Jupiter in Aries. That's a powerhouse trio. I am very interested to see. And we'll get a taste of that in 2025, but then the exact will be on my Jupiter in 2026. So we will see that. I'm interested. I'm kind of excited about the North Node in Pisces, because that's my second house of money. So that'll be interesting. It's also a 9-year in numerology, so which ties in well with the North Node in Pisces. So we will have opportunities to kind of, karmically wrap up situations, which I think is always a good thing. So yeah, you will learn and see more in the book that I have coming out soon for 2025. Okay, let me go back up to the top here. Okay. I heard that Capricorn Saturn can be also seen as a hermit, a guru, ascetic. Yes, because it's the Saturn, and Saturn is, about restrictions, delays, lessons. And Capricorns can be hermits. I mean, we can be. So yes. And Saturn can be about self-denial, denying yourself, which is where the ascetic, I'm going to say it correctly, stuff comes in. The fishtail, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, sorry, Bobo cat here, in regards to Capricorn, the sea goat, I think has a spiritual component. So, you can Google that. Because everybody thinks of Capricorn just as this materialistic sign, which it can be, of course, but there's also a profound spirituality to Capricorn. That is like that sea goat swimming in the waters, so to speak. Will this energy be less fight or flight? Which energy are you talking about? Thank you, Rolling Rainbow Thunder. Insulin rises to lower cortisol rises. Insulin locks fat in cell. Yes. Yeah, stress is huge, Brianna. I mean, you're absolutely right. Okay, Vera, Aurora, Google sell your house with St. Joseph. Yes, Vera, thank you for mentioning that. I did that actually, and it worked for me. So you can try, you can buy one on Amazon. That's what I did. I did bury it upside down in the front of my house. You can what? It's like $10 on Amazon. Doesn't hurt anything. Try it. See if it works for you. Thank you, Moon Goddess. Okay. BX Born Retro. I don't know if BX is Bronx or what. Okay. Hi, Stella. My sun is in Cap, but my rising is in Aquarius. Looking for a break. Okay. So Aqua Risings, I did talk about that, but Aqua Risings, you're going to have an opportunity to really step into your power. Remember, your rising sign is how you face the world and how other people see you. It is also your physical body. So, as M. Ryan was saying, they really got themselves like in good shape, right? They worked out a lot. So that's always a good thing to do when Pluto, that transformation, if your doctor allows it, again, not medical advice, but, it is about Aquarius is about your genius, right? Aquarius is a genius, right? It's genius. It's unique. It's eccentric. And I mean that in the best way. I love eccentric energy because it is unique. You march to the beat of your own drum. So how can Pluto help empower you to bring more of your unique take on things, the unique way you see the world, the unique way the world sees you? Really, just how can you make the changes to get rid of any inauthentic ways or roles? So it can also be roles that you currently are in. Again, inauthentic, right? It can be too, depending, right? It can be old identities that shift away. In my case, one of the identities was as a daughter, although you're always a daughter, even if your mother's not here. But my mother passed away when Pluto went into Capricorn. My dad passed away when Pluto got ready to go out of Capricorn. This is like the bookends of my Pluto experience in Capricorn. But that is a change of identity. Yes, I'm still their daughter, but now they're not here. So that's one type of thing. That's extreme. That doesn't mean that's going to happen to you. Okay. But also my identity and how I was showing up to do work in the world changed. Not that I was inauthentic in what I was doing before, but it had run its course. And I really wanted to step into greater power in the things I really loved even more. So, which is the astrology and the tarot. So, I hope that answers the question. In terms of a break, I mean, again, I think it sometimes just depends. Sometimes things are quiet for a while, and then all of a sudden there's lots of things going on. It depends on your whole chart as well, because it may not be Pluto that is bringing a certain challenge to your doorstep. It might be something else going on in your chart, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be Pluto. But Pluto in the first house in general is about authentically stepping into your power and how you present yourself to the world. And again, I love examples. Like if you've been feeling like you had to, again, it can be something as mundane as your appearance. You had to show up working for corporate, let's just say, in a suit every day and just feeling so stifled. And now you're like, you know what? I'm going to start dressing kind of the way I want. Like if they don't like it, then they can tell me whatever. It could be something like that, where you're just like, I'm done with any type of misaligned, inauthentic way I am presenting myself in the world. But it's not just to rebel for rebelling's sake. It's really about stepping into authority, your power and authority of who you really are, who you're being called to be with that rising sign. So, and also filter it through your sun sign, right? Which is Capricorn. So if your sun is in Cap and it's in the 12th house, then it might be, how am I comfortable? Because 12th house suns can be very private, right? And it doesn't mean, again, you can't be in a spotlight, but it needs to be a spotlight of your choosing, right? Like as an example, I believe Madonna, the artist, the musician, has her sun in the 12th house. And she, of course, is in the spotlight, but it's a spotlight of her choosing, right? She is Virgo rising. So with a 12th house Capricorn sun, you may still want to be private in certain, like your personal life, but maybe you're going to be feeling called to be more empowered and out there with other aspects of your life, right? With Pluto going into your rising. So that's one way you can look at it. And again, these are in general comments, BX born retro. So you kind of apply it to your life. Okay. Let's see what else we have. Just some other questions. Let me go back up. Yes, you're all very welcome. It's been a pleasure to hang out and have brunch with you. I've just been sipping on coffee. Yeah, it's really, there is a lot of stress right now. I really don't want to, minimize or say anything. There is a lot of stress. God knows. There's stress on the collective level with the shenanigans and things that go on. I don't care what side of the aisle, the political spectrums. I don't want to bring up politics, but I don't care what side you're on. It doesn't matter. It's all a game. It's all a game. Okay. I'm independent. I'm not either one of these. Okay. I'm an independent, but I just feel like there's been a lot of polarization for people. There's been, just a lot of stress and creating these situations. Again, I don't care which side does it. They both do it, creating situations where we do feel in crisis mode all the time because we don't know what's going to happen next. Like this one's doing that. This one's doing that. This is happening over here. And everybody's like, good Lord. Right. And then we have our own personal lives to worry about where we have stresses with whoever just lost their poor little dog. I'm so sorry. That comment went by. I'm so sorry. We have something like that going on. A parent passing away, stresses with kids, trying to pay our bills, like all the things. Right. It's like a double dose of fight or flight. We're like, we get like this. What do we do? And it is very stressful. And I would just say, like the best you can. This is just how I do things, but doesn't mean it'll work for you, whatever. I try to focus on my immediate world because, we don't have control over that really either, but, we have more impact, shall we say, on our own choices and responses and responsibilities within our immediate sphere than we do out here. And if you are too much out here, you'll lose your effing mind, in my opinion. This is just how I live. So what I try to do is I try to just treat everybody the way I would want to be treated. I just try to be, positive and generous within my community and, doing stuff like this, sharing with y'all. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's been really fun and trying to be a positive influence and change and for good and, those types of things, because that I can affect, hopefully. The rest of it, yeah, if I start going down those rabbit holes, I'll be sitting on the sofa, eating chocolates all afternoon and sabotaging myself because it is stressful. So, we've got to do the best we can for the people who are in our world, right? Because our world is created one person, one neighborhood, one situation at a time. That's how I feel. And again, I'm not telling anybody how to live. I believe everybody has their own choices, their own life. I would never tell anybody how to live, which is why I always say apply the energies to your life, right? It's your choices, how you choose to do something. This is just things to think about, really, So, I think that's important because it is stressful out there. And the best things you can do is try to just take good care of yourself as best you can and eliminate stress as best you can. Because I do think, there is this idea of the matrix and there are energies that maybe like to hijack our energy. They use our energy, and that energy includes when we get fearful and they feed on it. It's not good. Okay. It's not good. So that's just my opinion. Okay. You don't have to agree with me. All right. Let me just see a few more comments. Okay. Yes. My husband's an Aries and we joke all the time about he starts things he doesn't finish. Yes. It's a good thing you can joke about it. I look, no state is an Aries. Okay. I don't know. Maybe there is an Aries moon state. I have no idea. Um, Another person said, I have 6 businesses I want to start but can't follow through. Choose one. Choose one and just start. Stop second guessing yourself and keeping yourself in analysis paralysis by having 6 different ones. Okay, I'm wanting to do work that is more authentic to my soul. Yes, I cannot bury a statue upside down to sell my apartment. I live on the 6th floor. Then get a plant pot and put it in a plant pot. Do you have a balcony? Put the plant pot on your balcony and bury the statue in the balcony plant pot. Okay. Yes, Moon Goddess, this is your second Saturn return. Your second Saturn return at age 59 is really about what legacy, one of the things it's about, the legacy you want to live and, to leave behind. So, and it really is an opportunity for you to get back to reclaim whatever you haven't been able to do yet with your life purpose, your interests, the things that you want to commit to, right? Because what we do from our first Saturn return to our second Saturn return is it's a 30-year cycle. So we're building a career, we're building a family, we're building a legacy, we're learning things, we're growing, right? It's like the whole thing. So now at the second Saturn return, you look back on that those 30 years behind you and you're like, okay, well, what is there still left for me to do? And what, more importantly, what do I want to do? That will help leave something behind, like for my kids, for the community, just, whatever, right? But it is, I think the responsibility now moves more to personal empowerment and, something that will, empower you so you don't feel like there's stuff that was left undone in your life. For example, maybe you've always felt called to write a book, right? Let's just use that example. But last 30 years, there was no time. You were doing other things. Now is the time to step into that. Don't leave that undone. If you feel like that's part of your birth chart and something you're meant to fulfill, or you just want to do it, or you want to try it or whatever, now's the time. Second Saturn return, step into it. And of course, your second Saturn return lasts for 30 years. So you still have time. It's not like you got to do it today, right? You still have a little time. Okay, Patty Berry, rosary beads. Sister sold her house last week. Okay. Number 9 is a hermit card. Are we going to go within? Spirituality, I mean, really getting right with your spirit and karma and release is going to be a key to 2025. So yes, I mean, we may need some hermit times to do that, but it doesn't mean the whole year has to be like that. Again, those are extremes. I'm a big proponent of balance, not extremes. Okay. So happy to have this celebration. Thanks, Stella. Thank you, Onyx. Yes, good things are on their way. This makes a lot of sense. Awesome. You experience very much parallels mine. Yes. Oh yeah. Lots of parallels there, Diane. When did Pluto go into Capricorn? It was early 2008. Yeah, I think there was a retrograde, like he was in there, he retrograded, then he went back in. Chiron is not out of Aries, I don't think, until 2027. I just looked that up this morning because I really want him out of Aries. I'm tired of it. Okay. Bronzeborn Retro. Stella, tell me about my life. I think I just did. Shenanigans is an understatement. It's just my favorite word. Chiron is more about wounding. It's not just about that. There's other things involved in Chiron. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's just like, I just think everything, well, my own personal opinion is that hopefully, and maybe we'll see this with Pluto and Aquarius, we'll see. There needs to be more an emphasis on commonality and humanity. We are all humans, but this latest trying to pit everybody against one another, I think is very damaging. And people getting their undies in a twist about things like, and that people can't have different opinions. You can have different opinions. Of course you can. At the end of the day, everybody is still human. But that's the thing. Things need to be at a human level, right? And I don't think people think enough about that. like, would you want somebody to act like that toward you if you were acting this way? Like, people don't stop and think enough about things. And I just, and then that is extrapolated to higher levels, higher levels of society, like government, where, there's a lot. It's a lot. Too many things. But yeah, the media drives us nuts. I think one of the best things that was asked about with the 9-year and the Hermit is taking breaks from social media. Maybe not my channel, okay, but just from like the doom scrolling, like on Twitter or wherever you're at, out there, like to get your sanity back. Because I also think when we do that, it does erode, or it can erode. It has the potential to erode our personal power. Right? Because we read all these things, and yeah, I like to be informed too. I like to know what the economy is doing. And, I read different things, but then I get like depressed sometimes after I go through and read and watch different videos. I'm like, well, then what's the point? Like, why do anything if it's all just going to crash and burn? And again, I feel that's what they want. They want us to just give up, not feel empowered, etc. But that's just me and my beliefs. So I think having that balance between, not letting your head get too involved with, social media, doom scrolling, and deciding for yourself how you're going to create your reality. Because we know from our manifestation work that we have a strong hand in that, in creating our reality. We have a strong hand in it. So, it's important to keep your balance. And Patty does charity work. And thank you, Brianna. Yeah, as Jaroslaw is saying, keep distance, watch it, don't react. But also know, this is what I'm trying to say too. Again, this is just my opinion, but it's a greater game. There's things above this. There's things above that are puppeting and pulling things, and it's the Matrix, right? You guys know what I'm saying. It is a mess. It is a mess. As JC's saying, do your best, let God do the rest, 100%. Okay. And then April saying, I'm finally all about me. Good. Gift of Pisces, of letting go of control over the things you can't control. Yes. And understanding that, yeah, you can, control yourself. You can control how you react to things. Okay, let's see. I'm just reading how to get rid of negativity that is destroying my health. I have negative people around. Okay, well, then protect your energy. How to get rid of negativity, then don't interact with those people. I mean, I don't know who they are, but as somebody else was saying earlier in the chat, I forget who was saying it, but it is again, this is me though. Again, everybody's different. I got a lot of strong independent energy in my chart. So this is easier for me to say perhaps, but it's better to be alone than to have these type of people in your life. Okay. But my whole thing, as I've said before, I say many times, is that we have to take responsibility for ourselves. Right? If there are negative people in your life, and this is a process, right? Sometimes we learn this over time. And again, it's an opportunity for you, Aurora, to put up boundaries, right? If there are negative people around you and whatever's going on, then put the boundary up. Do not deal with their energy. If it's a case where, let's just say it's an ex and you have kids together or whatever, then find a way you can put the boundary up that, and you keep reinforcing it so they can't keep giving their negativity. Or if it's a group of friends, then don't hang out with them anymore. I mean, at some point you gotta and I know, especially those of us who have trauma in our backgrounds, right? It can be challenging for us to learn how to take care of ourselves in that way. That's why I keep saying it's a process. Don't beat yourself up, but again, also take responsibility. Notice the patterns, notice when you're not feeling well after being with certain people, make the changes, make the adjustments. Only you can do it for you, right? Okay. Wendy Fox, good to see you. Okay. I'm glad you were screaming Bronx-born retro. I guess that's a good thing when I was talking. Pluto and Aqua worries me because Pluto destroys everything. Pluto is, he may seem at first like he's destroying things, but he's also about transformation and rebuilding because he rules Scorpio, and that's what Scorpio is about. Okay. Yes, sometimes we have the stinger of the scorpion first, but then eventually we'll also have the phoenix rising from whatever was going on. Okay. Is it difficult to have Sun, Venus, and Mars in Scorpio? Well, that's a lot of Scorpio to manage. Once the tower is gone, thank you, Pluto, nothing else left but to go forward into the unknown. It is a new adventure. I think, and approaching it with that mindset is a good thing. And we are strong, and we are strong in our community, and we will work with the energies as best we can, and we will make it through whatever's going on. Okay, but also look at it from an adventurous perspective, because as I said, I think it's going to be very interesting with Pluto trining Uranus. I think there could be some real opportunities for expansion, learning new things. That's an exciting adventure to me. Hi from the Netherlands. Hello, a little tenderness. Okay, Ohio is Pisces. Is that good for an Aries? It depends. I think things are going to take a new turn. We may be surprised on January 6th. We might be. You never know. Better to be alone than poorly accompanied. I look at it as just, it's all like all that political bullshit. To me, it's just a big show. It's just at this point. And it's one that I think traps us in thinking that is disempowering for us. Do what you can with where you are, who you are, the people in your world you can help, and help yourself. And whatever's going on out there, don't get sucked into it. Keep your own energy without having it get tainted by that stuff, because it's in my opinion, just a big bunch of baloney. Okay. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Brianna. Don't forget to hit the like button. Okay, I feel as though I'm such a pivotal time, can't make any decisions. I want to be working in my purpose, but I'm confused about that. I'm 59 now. Can that be related to my Saturn return? Yes, it can be, because remember, Saturn is about what am I going to do when I grow up? At least in our first Saturn return, it is about taking on a new responsibility, like a marriage, a kid, going back to graduate school, taking on a new career, moving abroad. I mean, whatever. It's a big responsibility that can define the next 30 years of our lives with the first Saturn return. Second Saturn return, you're like, all right, been there, done that. Now what? Right now, what the F? So this goes back to, what do you feel has been unfulfilled in your life up to this point? What do you want to commit yourself to for the next, God bless, hope you have another full Saturn return, the next 30 years. What do you want to do? What does working in your purpose look like? That's very vague language to me. What is that exactly? Figure that out and then go and do it. Life is about choices. Your choices can free or imprison you. Yes. I went no contact with my parents and improved my health. Yes. And again, that worked for you. Maybe that's not for everybody, Casey, but that worked for you. And that's taking personal responsibility. And that's hard to do, but you did it. Right. And it is hard sometimes. Life is sometimes hard. Life isn't always, sunshine and roses, unfortunately. Yeah, exactly. Observe from a distance and do not engage. That's what works for me. Again, I'm not telling anybody what to do, but I agree with Jaroslaw. Okay. All right. Thank you, Sharon. I'll see you soon. We'll do a Diva live very soon at some point this week. I'll make a schedule for us. Okay. A little tenderness. Pluto is leaving Capricorn on Tuesday, November 19th. The full moon energy. My son died when he was. Could that be part of Saturn return? Excuse me, was it your son's Saturn return? He wasn't maybe quite at his Saturn return. That's more like 28, 29. He was 27. And you were not in your Saturn return quite at that time, if that was 4 years ago. Pluto only destroys what has become toxic. Yes, exactly. It's past, like I like to say, it's past its sell by date, right? With Pluto. Pluto's like, oh, it's growing mold. It's, it's got poison in it. Right. Let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of it. All right. Does anybody have any other questions before I sign off? Okay. Thank you, Stella. I wish all the best, and thank you, everyone. Yes. So, always come to the channel for some support. I will probably do another live when I have the book finished, so we can talk about 2025 energies a little bit more. Today, we were just, talking really about Pluto and hopefully not scaring anybody. Just like as best you can, try to look at it as an opportunity and know that it's not all like doom and gloom. It is an opportunity for personal growth. The issue is personal growth isn't always a walk through the wildflower field, right? Sometimes it is getting in there with the nitty gritty, into the depths and excavating stuff and getting rid of stuff. And then you step out renewed, right? So, and of course, like, as I always say, if you really want to look at things more deeply, then book a reading with me. I mean, that's what I do, right? Like that's what I do. I've already done a video, on the channel. I was going to put a community post about it, Mary. I did already do a Pluto and Aquarius video about a year ago. I will repost that. That was more like a kind of a PowerPoint talk. I did it in Canva, but it can give you a sense of what the energies. It's not that long a video. It's like 20 minutes long or something. And it breaks it out by each sign. So you can see that. I mean, really, the advice in general, right, for Pluto and Aquarius is to step into your genius. Allow your genius, and everybody has it. Okay, that has nothing to do with IQ. Okay, step into your genius and allow it to empower you and transform you, and allow it to do that to the world. Like, this is the whole thing. That is the Aquarian energy. Be weird, be quirky, be eccentric. Allow yourself to explore like things that are out there, like I think of like Star Trek. Like, what's that motto from Star Trek, right? Go boldly where no person has gone before, or whatever, for your own life. Like, just allow yourself to see what it would be like to push, right? Really push your own uniqueness. Again, just my personal opinion. And of course, I did this for many years too. Many of us like hide our brilliance, right? Because we don't even have to have Saturn in the 11th house, like we talked about before. You can just be like, well, I'm just nervous to really geek out or nerd out or show people this side of me because what might they say, or this, that, the other thing. So I think the more that we can be brave and allow our genius, which is our own unique energies and talents, and again, everybody has it, quirkiness, whatever, to be out there. Thank you, Alexander. Yes, magician card. To be out there in the world, the better it will be. And that's just in general. So that's what I would suggest overall. Right. And let's also remember, this is the other thing, and maybe this is a good thing to close out with. I would encourage you all. I'll do this too. Okay. I'm not just going to encourage you. I'll encourage myself also. Write a letter to your future self. Okay. Write a letter to your future, because Aquarius is about the future. Write a letter to your future self. I think there's programs online that you can do this to, and it will email you at a certain date. But you can Google that. Write a letter to your future self of what you would like to see for your future, how you see yourself evolving. What is your future self? What is your message from your future self to you in 20 years from now when Pluto is leaving Aquarius? What beautiful brilliance will you have claimed for yourself? How will you have stepped into your power? How will you have created your future? by embracing opportunities for change and growth and innovation. I mean, we're really talking about innovating your life and not staying stuck in the same old patterns and ways, of doing things. And wherever that Aquarius energy is for you, okay, and doing things very differently and finding new technologies, new groups of people, Aquarius, people who are thinking in humanitarian, future forward thinking people, that type of thing, and whatever that means for you. But more importantly, your future self, what will that look like under a powerful and empowering Pluto and Aquarius transit? And writing that letter to yourself. And you could set it aside. Like I said, there's some programs that they will send you the email on the date you say. So you could be like, all right, in 2025. So in 2044, can you please send me an email of my future self email? It's just a thought. It's a fun exercise. But you can consider that. If you don't want to do in 20 years, maybe do how you're going to feel in 2 years or whatever. So, but it could be fun. Could be fun to do. All right. Well, thank you all very much. It was super fun to hang out with you and discuss all these exciting transits. Buh-Bye to Pluto in Capricorn. We survived. We're here and we're going to continue the journey together. Keep checking in with the channel, with videos, all the things. We will keep, lifting each other up in comments and different things and, supporting one another. And we'll keep working with the energies and we will get through whatever's going on. Right. And take care of yourself. I love this. Add to the future leather. Here are 3 things I will do to make that happen. Beautiful. Yes. Here are these opportunities I will embrace to change my life. Here are the things I will innovate about my life. Here are the ruts I will get out of, right? So, yeah, Pluto is a tough teacher. It can be. And I think that's the thing too. It's like, it's my Jupiter in my chart. I try to look at things in a positive way. That's just my nature. I am an optimist. I am not a pessimist, despite having Capricorn rising. But the reality is there are some transits that they're just like, there's some energies that, like I said, it's not all sunshine and roses. We do our best not to go down the doom and gloom route, but we can't ignore that either. Like, yes, Pluto can bring things that can be a destructive change. That could be the first way it looks, right? Yes, it can. But then we get caught in that and we forget there's the other side of it also, that often after some sort of tower moment, as Jaroslav is saying, or some sort of something, there is the regeneration process. It's just that we're human. We want things to not be, whatever, and we want the good things to happen right away afterwards. And sometimes it's not always right away, right? It takes a little longer or whatever. So, we just all do the best we can. And remember too, that there is the element of freeing, as Sharon was saying here, let go of what doesn't serve you for your highest good. And Pluto often speeds up that process because he does bring those tower moments of change. And let's face it, especially fixed signs, but I mean, really anybody or any sign, a lot of people, not everybody, some people thrive on change. Things always, like this. Other people, a lot of people don't always like that. They like things to just be. So when we have a Pluto scenario, it can be especially jarring, right? But that's part of life. And hopefully it's helping us move in inspired new directions. That's what we hope. Let's end on that note. But bye-bye, Pluto in Capricorn. Let's call in all sorts of exciting new things for our future with a letter to ourselves and make it happen. All right. Thank you guys so much. It was such a pleasure. If I missed anybody in the chat, I am so sorry. I do the best I can with everything. And thank you all for being here. Take care. I will be back soon with a video for, let's see what the video I'm filming tomorrow is. Your Sagittarius season, just kind of general energies. I will be publishing that at some point this week. And as I said, I will do another live to discuss just generally 2025 astrology and kind of launch the book. We will do that. And then, yes, you will have your December stuff coming out. And I will be doing readings for the year ahead. So that'll be more in December. So we're trying to get these other things done first. All right. So thank you all so much. Take care. And I will see you again soon.